Who should pray? Who should fulfill this serious duty and profound need? Generally, especially today, men either do not pray at all or pray very little, only when faced with a temporal need. Many men believe they don't need to pray, and some even consider prayer a useless activity for elderly women. However, St. Paul specifically recommends prayer for men. Therefore, I want men to pray in every place, lifting up pure hands without anger or dissension. When he later discusses women's prayer, he refers to them praying in church, as evident from the context. By encouraging men to pray everywhere, Paul advocates for continuous prayer in every occupation and place to seek God's mercy. When praying in church, Paul wants men to lift their hands toward heaven in the attitude that Christians, as mentioned earlier, adopted in prayer. Clearly, they couldn't maintain this posture during their work. In those situations, it was the heart that needed to rise to God in the purity and peace of charity. One should not claim this is impossible. Now, if they can work and exhaust themselves like that, who could claim it's impossible to lift your heart to God amidst job difficulties, overcoming them through prayer? A simple Hail Mary, even whispered from the heart, can greatly help in rough moments. An aspiration to God's will can provide immense comfort. The great artists who created masterpieces of beauty and true art worked while praying and sought inspiration from God and the Virgin Mary. The power of fervent prayer before God. Prayer is the only power of the exiled creature. It almost weakens God, conquering him with loving, imploring groans. God is a force of justice, but prayer wins him over by transforming justice into mercy. God is ineffable in the order he has established throughout creation. For him, every disorder is swept away by nature itself, which fights for him. Yet prayer attracts God's power, and nature, disrupted by sin, feels the divine voice that beyond natural laws restores order despite being driven by human disorders and violent outbursts of physical forces. Through prayer, fire loses its power to burn, raging waves subside, and stormy waters grow calm. Through prayer, beasts that lunge at their human prey with trembling roars of greed, claws extended to rend, and powerful jaws wide open to devour, suddenly halt. They gaze timidly at their prey, approach submissively, lick the martyr's feet, and lie down before them, worshiping God. Prayer has transformed roars into hymns of praise to the divine power. Prayer, an epic battle, conquers the mountains weighing heavily on the soul. It moves them. It draws water from the dry rock and makes it burst into a river. It is a miraculous, vibrant ultrasound that resonates with silent power. It makes the earth burst forth in exuberant vegetation. It purifies infectious miasma. It reveals the soul's shortcomings, like ultrasounds that detect bubbles and impurities in molten steel, to make her a capable propeller that drives the ship to port. It is a steady rudder that orients her. A father is angry at his impertinent child and about to punish him. The child becomes serious, about to cry, and the father forgives him and kisses him. Prayer is the cry of the poor sinner who battles God's own anger and wins. compelling him to give us the most loving kiss in the sacrament of confession. Today, mankind takes pride in the communication methods it has developed. Humanity boasts of conquering space and, through modest achievements, has even rejected the concept of heaven, once the focus of prayerful minds and hearts, now referred to by the lifeless term space. In truth, prayer remains the most potent form of communication. Through imploring gestures, it addresses God, Mary, and the saints, communicating through the soul. Sacred images serve as spiritual transmitters and receivers. The soul communicates before the crucifix in blessed images, conveying her prayers. The soul receives waves of hope, responses from God and the saints, and above all, a flood of maternal tenderness from the images and statues of Mary in shrines where she has left her immaculate footprint and shed her merciful rays. The light of faith that animates prayer is like a heliograph transmitting God's light. Contemplation is a sublime satellite communicating beyond the world's atmosphere, conveying God's powerful light, a marvelous display revealing his work in the mysteries of grace and redemption. What communications could be more sublime, more real, or sweeter than those of prayer? Prayer is the harmony of the soul. When she groans, it's like a violin of the heart rising to high tones of supplication. When she implores, it's like a cello with a sweeter, more human tone. When she prays for a misguided soul, it's like a cymbal resounding to awaken her. When she begs for the world, asleep in material and matter, it's like a bass drum rolling to bring out the power of faith's harmonies. The rosary is like a defensive weapon against God's enemies, as at Lepanto in Vienna, and against heretical hordes. When it rises with the Church's voice, it is a harmony of sublime poetry, the song of the soul through the 10-stringed harp of the Psalms. When it bursts into Alleluia, it's joy laughing with God's loving, triumphant smile. God's victory is achieved in the world through prayer, an epic battle against evil, a triumphant hymn of praise, of light over darkness, of purity over impurity, of virtue over vice, of God's kingdom over Satan's, of the loving charity that unites everyone in the church. O power of God, overcome humanity's deplorable impotence and grant us the grace to pray. O wisdom of God, enlighten our minds and grant us the grace to meditate while praying. O infinite love of God, inflame us so that prayer may burst forth from our soul, from our heart, from our very life, like a flame of love. Thank you for watching and listening. Arrivederci till next time. Jesus, you take over. Take care of everything. Gesù, pensaci tu.